everyone. I hope you're doing well and having a wonderful day. I'm here to do an intuitive card reading on the upcoming energies for the next week. So let's see what messages, insights, and guidance the universe has for us all. Okay, so we have Amber, awaken your creativity. Yeah, it feels like a lot of times we can be going through the motion with things, kind of going through life on autopilot, disengaged, and kind of sometimes we're just bored and we disassociate with life and we're just like, man, this is not fun. But if we can awaken our creativity, if we can, have some more innovation and fun and play with life, I feel like things will go a lot more smoothly. But also we will enjoy life more. We'll be a lot more present if we can, maybe turn some things into games that are kind of boring. That doesn't mean we can turn necessarily everything into a game, or that we should. But just adding, that little spark, that little zest, that little eagerness to get up and live life to its fullest. And when we do tap into our creativity, we can also have all these innovative solutions to our problems that we wouldn't have thought of otherwise. So creativity is definitely an important thing to have. Let's see. We also have... Yeah. Let's get the card's stuck, but a new start is coming. New moon. Yeah, it very much feels like as individuals, but also more collectively as a society, we are turning the page and starting this new chapter. It feels like we are letting go of old ways that no longer serve us. Towards the beginning of the year was the Chinese New Year, and it was the year of the snake, so it very much feels like we are shedding our old skin so we can have this fresh new start. And it's going to be very beautiful if we can go with the flow, if we can trust the process. I know with some of us, we tend to get caught up in our comfort zones and, we will stay with the known, and then when things start changing, we try to, cling to the old ways, cling to what we know, and that can, make things more challenging for us. But if we can embrace this fresh start, it's going to be really beautiful. And it's feeling like, I know this is amber, but it feels like we're letting in all this gold, this prosperity, if we can embrace the new, if we can go with the flow and, tap into these changes. Yeah, the answers you need are coming, full moon and Gemini. And a lot of us may be feeling like very lost and confused because things are changing. Things that used to work out won't work anymore. I know that if you're in the U.S., in the world at large, because of what leaders have been doing and how things have been shaken up, and there's less predictability, and that's unsettling some people, whereas other people are excited because they're like, okay, someone's finally doing things to try to make things better. And the answers we need are coming. We can trust the process. We can go with the flow. And yeah, it could be a little bit shaky, a little bit turbulent, a little bit of a rocky road in the short term, but in the long term, I feel like this is going to help us out a lot. It sort of feels like we're going up a mountain, and the climb can be long and challenging and hard and arduous, and like some points it may be a narrow path, you may be having to climb up a lot of steep rocks and cliffs and whatnot, but at the end of the day, the view and just like all that you accomplish is going to be so monumental. So if we can just trust the process and keep going, even though it may seem a little bit questionable, a little bit tricky, it'll be worth it. Yeah. Unakai, live in the now. So many of us get caught up in the past, with nostalgia and even past wounds and trauma. and carry all this emotional baggage. And then there's also so many of us who are always like living for the future, like, oh, I can be happy and enjoy life, when this happens. And that could be years and years and years down the line. And, it's not bad to have goals for the future. It's not bad to, remember the past, because the past could have taught us very many valuable lessons. But we are here in the here and now, in the present moment. And if we're always, looking back at the past or looking forward to the future, we're missing out everything that's around us. There could be so many blessings that are trying to come in, and not even just blessings, but opportunities, doors that we could open right here and now. But if we're always looking back or looking forward, we're missing out. And there's so many things that we could enjoy. There's we can cherish the moment. We can find gratitude for what we have. Maybe it's not the ideal situation that we're in right here and now. Maybe it's not everything's not to our preferences, but there are still good things, Like, more recently, there's been a lot of storms here, a lot of rain, there's been tornadoes, and, people I know around me will complain a lot about the rain or about the crazy winds and the storms and tornadoes, but without the storms, the plants wouldn't be getting all this rain that it needs to grow, to be, in the full throes of spring. And just looking around, everything's so much more vibrant and green than it used to be. And it's because of these storms. So we can embrace the current moment and live here and now. And I feel like it's going to help us a lot. And yeah, it's nice to know what's coming in the future. And it's good to appreciate the past. But we live in the present moment. So it's good to not forget that. Adventuring, create your own luck. Yeah, we have a lot more power and say in things than we often give ourselves credit. And it usually boils down to our beliefs and the narratives we're telling ourselves. And, if we're always going on about how we're unlucky and how bad things are always happening to us and we're having all these negative narratives, that's the kind of things that are showing up in our life. The energy you put out into the world comes back to you. So if you're having that energy of being unlucky or, not have everything's hard and all these things, that's the kind of experiences that are going to show up for you. But if you can put energy and attention and momentum behind, you being lucky, behind you, having good things happen to you, having that expectation that the universe is working everything out in your favor, that good things are happening to you, that you are loved, that you are cherished, that you are protected, that you are nurtured, you are guided, all of that kind of energy will build momentum and grow, and you'll have more and more and more of that show up in your life. So know that you have a lot more power than you can give yourself credit. We are the authors of our own story. Yeah. Squirrel, playful preparation. The thing is, it's good to be prepared. I'm not going to knock that. And, but it's also good to have play and fun and lightheartedness. So if we can, get prepared for the times coming, but be more playful about it, have more fun, be more lighthearted, it'll go so much further because of the energy we're putting into it. If we are, making all these preparations and, we're full of doubt or worry or fear or stress and anxiety, and it's a lot more heavy and it's really serious and rigid, it's oh, it's the world's gonna end kind of thing with our preparation. That's a very different energy than if we are being mindful and still making preparations, but being more light and open and fun and playful about it, because it's so much, I don't know if it's necessarily easier, because it can be really hard to look for the bright side, to look for the silver lining, to try to have more fun and be playful when things around you in the external world seem so questionable and on shaky grounds, and it can be turbulent and you don't know what's going to happen. But the energy you bring to things really does matter, and it makes a world of a difference. And it can be the deciding factor in outcomes and the experiences you face that show up in your life. So be mindful about that. Don't be afraid to have more play in your life. Yeah. Peacock authenticity. Be authentic. So don't hide your light. Don't, try to dull your true colors, because you are a wonderful person. The world is better for you being you. And a lot of times we can pretend, and they say fake it till you make it, but be real, be authentic. Sorry about that. Suki was throwing stuff around. But be true to you, because the world doesn't need more copies. If you are feeling uncertain, give yourself that chance to feel and process your emotions. But the thing is, you don't want to stay stuck in them, because emotions are meant to flow. They're like water. They're energy. Emotions are energy in motion. That's what they're called, emotions. So you want them to be flow. You don't want them all, stagnant and stuck in your body. So be authentic. If you're worried, maybe journal, maybe talk to somebody about it just to get it out, but don't stay there. You can meditate, but be true to you. You have a lot of brilliant things to offer, and the world's better for you being yourself and shining your true colors. Hello. Yeah. Innocence. Like, we need to have more of that childlike wonder back in life. It brings so much more magic to life. And life just is so much more enjoyable when you can see it through the eyes of youth, of innocence. Because there can be magic in things that, adults who are quote-unquote realistic just miss out on. And that's not to say that being realistic is bad, but why not make your journey one that you enjoy, that you savor? Why not look for the magic, the wonder, the brilliance in life? Hold on. Yeah, Suki's definitely in the mood right now, but you can have so much more. Like, it just feels like life just flows so much easier as a child. And I think that's because we're not getting caught up in everything, like, as we grow up, we're conditioned to, look at everything and, hold on. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought because of the hyperactive kitty. But yeah, it's just basically bring more innocence and wonder and magic, those wide-eyed wonders, like the wide-eyed wonder that children often have in their eyes, because life can be this beautiful journey. It can be full of all these wonderful experiences, but as we grow up, we can kind of, become detached and jaded and disinterested and dispassionate and disheartened by life, and be like, oh, it's just all this yuckiness, all this suffering, all this, drudgery. But it's about the kind of narratives we put with things and the energies we put into it as well. Let's see. Yeah, I am not the victim. I am the lighthouse. You don't need to put in all this energy into being a victim. You get to be the author of your story. You get to create the narratives. You get to decide what happens in the stories that you spin, how you perceive things, the energy you put into things. And you are this brilliant light. You get to shed all this light, and it's up to you to decide, how your story's going to go. Yeah, there's always a solution of the highest good, even if you can't see it right away. But as the cards say, a new start is coming, and the answers you need are coming. So trust that everything is working out. Even if it's not to your preferences right now, even if it's hard right now, it is working out. And the universe wastes nothing. It uses everything and anything to our benefit. Even if we don't see it right now, it'll work out just fine. Yeah, I make decisions from a place of intuition and power. So know that you don't have to make your decisions and your choices from fear, from anxiety, from stress, from worry, doubt. Like, you could make those choices, but what kind of energy does that bring? Does it feel like you're making aligned choices? Does it feel like you're making the best choices when it's like that? No, it's usually feeling heavy and like you have no choice. But you can take a step back, you can breathe, you can relax, you can meditate, you can journal, you can get aligned, and then make your choices and feel how much lighter it is, you know? Hold on. Okay. So we have mountain road. You are on the road to success. Yeah, that was what I was saying about the energy, about being a mountain and climbing it. It may be long, it may be hard, you know, but at the end of the day, it's going to be worthwhile. You are paving your way to success. And even if you can't see the top yet, even if you can't, like, you're not at your goal yet, it will happen. Just keep going. Stay the course. It'll all work out beautifully. So, kite, vacation. Maybe you need to take a little bit of a break. Sometimes if we're just like beating our head continuously against the wall and just trying, like, we're not going to see success because we're going at it in the wrong way. We're putting in the wrong energy. We're trying to force things. We're trying to control things. And sometimes just walking away, stepping away, and coming back with fresh eyes can make a world of a difference. And then we can see the creative solutions. We can have this like innovation and a fresh start, the fresh eyes. It makes a world of a difference. So whether or not it's like a little break or a long vacation, good things can come if you are giving yourself a chance. Bo, you are highly thought of. Yeah, like you have all this brilliance to you, and you got to stay mindful and be authentic, because there are going to be people who cherish you, who are eager to spend time with you, but they don't need to be spending time with a copy. That's not the true you. And you are so cherished just as you are, your true self. So you don't want to, sell yourself short. Okay, so we have chair empty, someone is leaving your life, but we also have chair filled, someone new is entering your life. So this makes it seem like you may get tripped up in the fact that, someone is leaving your life, but that chair is going to get filled. And so don't cling to the old. You may have outgrown them, or they may have outgrown the situation. You may not be the best energetic match. Your frequencies aren't lining up, And if you hear the noises in the background, Suki's all hyped up and racing around, but you don't want to get too caught up in the past. That's not to say don't appreciate it, but good things are coming, and you have to let go of the old to make way for the new. It's sort of like how the trees every year let go of all their old dead leaves so they can make room for the new. If they didn't let them go, they'd be clinging on to dead weight, but also there wouldn't be any space for their new leaves, for the new life, for all the brilliant new opportunities. And since we're going into that spring, that's what it feels like. You are finally filling in those spots that have gone away. So don't worry if the chair is empty, because it will get filled again. But yeah, like, you are going to be just fine. Know that everything is working out brilliantly. The road may be, questionable and tricky and sometimes full of challenges and hardships, but at the end of the day, it's going to be so worthwhile. You're on the road to success. You are highly thought of. Take breaks when you need it, and stay true to you. Remember to get some play and fun in there. because the answers that you are looking for are coming, but you need to trust the process and believe in yourself and be mindful of the narratives you're telling, of the energy you're putting into things, because you can create your own luck. You can create your own success. Everything is working out beautifully for you. So I'm wishing you all a wonderful rest of your day. Please take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye.